I wanted to talk real quick about the current Democrat nominee for president, Kamala Harris. We don't know if they'll keep her around as nominee because they pulled the switcheroo already with Joe Biden, but for now we'll assume that she is the nominee. Over the past 2 weeks or so since she's been the nominee, it's shocking how recent that's been, but the media has been giving her a tremendous gift, really an in-kind contribution, by attempting to hide her record and her stances on a variety of issues on which she is a complete radical. They know that if people saw her positions on these issues rather than the very showy and very platitudinous kind of political ads that Kamala Harris has been putting out, if they saw the real Kamala Harris, people would be disgusted by how radical she is on a wide variety of issues. So first off, I want to talk about healthcare. Kamala Harris, during the 2019 presidential election cycle, came out in favor of abolishing private health insurance, basically nationalizing it, or in other words, socializing it. Kamala Harris is just a sort of toned down version of Bernie Sanders on economics. She is in fact a socialist, whether she admits it or not. She wouldn't admit any such thing, but it's true. Moving on to the issue of abortion, I said while Joe Biden was still the candidate that Donald Trump was by far the more moderate candidate on this issue, and that has remained the case with Kamala Harris. She believes in abortion all the way up to birth. For all we know, she believes in abortion after birth, such as the law in Virginia from Governor, I believe it was Ralph Northam, who said that if a baby was born during a failed abortion procedure, then they would take the baby into another room and have a conversation with the mother about whether or not to kill it. I have no doubt in my mind that, at least from a moral perspective, Kamala Harris is totally okay with that kind of behavior, even if she wouldn't admit it for fear of losing votes. Additionally, she is, again, on the topic of economics, she's radical on identity politics and racial wealth redistribution. Kamala Harris came out in support of reparations for Black Americans during that 2019 presidential election cycle. So what she supports is taking money away from presumably white people who were never slave owners and giving it to Black people who were never slaves in this country. She did not clarify how such a thing would be implemented. Of course, it is completely impossible to implement such a thing on, even in theory, a fair basis if you are only going to take money from the ancestors of slaveholders or people who directly benefited from slavery and give it to people who are whose ancestors were slaves or who were directly detrimented by slavery. Completely impractical. Okay, most people are descended both from slave owners and slaves. Myself, I probably am descended from both because there is some African blood in me and also a lot of European blood. So, chances are descended from both, just like Obama. So he and I are similar in that way. But regardless, on that and many other issues, Kamala Harris is a total radical, and you have to be informed of this, and you have to make sure that everybody else is informed, not just about, oh, Kamala Harris has Megan Thee Stallion and Jack Black and all these celebrities on her side. That is an attempt to basically misdirect away from the issues and just turn this presidential election into a popularity contest, basically. But what we want to do here on this channel is make sure people are informed so that they can make the decision that they believe is the correct decision at Election Day.